All right, you're almost there. You're about ready to take the Lesson 1 exam. So, what I want to do is tell you make sure that you watch this video first in its entirety before you move on to the rest of the review. In this video, I'll give you some valuable information about what the exam is like, what the short answer and essay questions are, as well as some tips on how to prepare for the exam. So first of all, what does this exam look like? Well, it's made up first of 16 true and false questions. Each true and false question is worth 2 points for a total of 32 points. Almost all these questions deal with a specific vocabulary term that comes from either chapters 1, 2, 3, or the first section of chapter 7 that we have looked at in this unit. Secondly, there are 16 multiple choice questions. These multiple choice questions are worth 3 points apiece for a total of 48 points. Again, these multiple choice questions are checking your understanding of the concepts and the vocabulary terms which we have looked at so far in this unit. The exam also contains 4 short answer questions. These are questions that all you need to do is supply maybe 2 or 3 sentences, a paragraph at most, to answer. Each of these are worth 5 points each, and again, in a few moments, I will kind of go over exactly what those questions are. Finally, there is one short essay question. This is a question that really will take you at least 2 to 3 paragraphs to effectively be able to answer. It is worth 10 points. Now, I will just say up front that oftentimes I find students who will want to skip the short answer questions and the essay question. They just don't like to write. I understand that, but yet at the same time, I'm just letting you know that it's going to be very challenging to get a decent score or even a passing score without attempting the short answer questions and the essay question. The good thing with these questions is that you get partial credit. So anything that you put down is potentially going to help you, not hurt you. If you don't answer them, you get 0 points. It only hurts you. So please attempt each of the short answer questions and just give it your best shot. Now, to help you out, what I've done is I basically am going to tell you exactly what the questions are right now. I don't want to surprise you. I don't have any intention to surprise you. I'm interested to see, do you really understand the information? Would you be able to explain it? So to give you that chance to think through your ideas ahead of time, here they are. The first short answer question is list and describe the 5 basic components of culture. The key with this question is not just to list them. To just list them, you cannot get full credit for. You need to be able to list and briefly describe. Again, a short phrase, a sentence for each of them is all that you need to do. The next question asks, discuss George Murdoch's conclusions concerning cultural universals and explain how he arrived at his conclusions. So this has a couple parts to it. You want to explain maybe in a sentence what a cultural universal is. 2, you want to explain what are the major conclusions that he came up with. This can include the major categories. And then finally, explain how did he come to those conclusions? What was his study involved, and what did it include? So like 3 sentences, maybe 4, you should be able to effectively answer this question. The next one is, what social and political factors led to the development of sociology as a distinct academic discipline? Now, we kind of went over that in one of the instructional videos as well as in one of our live sessions. There are 3 major types of revolutions that came together all around the same time that had a tremendous impact on sociology developing. What are those 3 major revolutions or factors? And again, just briefly describe them. Again, I'm telling you, there's 3, so 3 sentences should be all that you need to be able to effectively answer this question. The last short answer question is this. Make a list of groups in which you currently belong, and then organize the list by the type of group. Now make a list of groups to which you belong during elementary school. What sociological concepts explain why your group membership has changed as you've grown older? Some key vocabulary terms that you want to be including in this. In-group, out-group, dyad, triad, primary group, secondary group, reference group. These are the type of words that you want to be thinking about how to include within your short answer question. This will help you understand what I'm looking for when I'm asking for you to make a list of groups now and organize them by the type, especially primary, secondary. Now do the same thing with the elementary school days, and then what concepts explain why these seem to be changing over time. All right? So the last major question is an essay question. To effectively answer this, I'm looking for at least 2 to 3 paragraphs. What I want you to do is look at the map that is on page 19. It shows how hip-hop, which is a cultural expression, has ended up going around the globe. And so what I want you to do is identify by looking at the map, where did hip-hop originate and what are its roots? 2, where did it spread? And 3, which areas it last spread to. So now you want to end up writing a couple paragraphs explaining the spread of hip-hop, and also to include at least 2 sociological concepts that help to explain why there's been this global spread of hip-hop. So again, think back to things that we've looked at in chapter 1. Think of things that we've looked at in especially chapter 2 in ideas with culture, and be able to explain some of the sociological concepts that help to give an explanation as to why there's been this spread. All right, those are the questions. So now you have some time to think through them in advance. So how should you prepare? Well, step 1, go over your notes and the completed reading guides. In each of the instructional videos that I have given you as we've gone through this unit, I have suggested a recommended way of taking notes on the reading. If you have done so, you should have an excellent set of notes that you can use for taking the exam. If you chose not to do that, but instead to complete the reading guides that were attached in each of those textbook sections, those also can act as an excellent study guide. So step 1, go through your notes or go through the reading guides as a review. Step 2, now go through the rest of the presentation that you're in here in Prezi. For each of the major 3 sections or categories, I have listed several questions. If you go through and get to a question that you cannot answer, you don't know the answer to it, I give you the page number that it can be found on. Look it up. Take some notes on that. Again, this will become a great resource for when you go to take the exam. And then finally, make sure that you write out your thoughts for the short answer questions. I will not be giving credit for anything I see that is a cut and paste from the internet, even from a Yahoo Answers or anything like that. You will not get credit for those. But again, there's nothing wrong with you to look at the questions that I just went over and write out what your response is. If you follow these 3 steps, if you go over these questions, you should be in excellent shape to be prepared to do well on this exam. All right, thanks a lot. And again, if you have any questions in preparing, feel free to touch base with me by K-mail, by my office phone number, or you can also stop by one of my help sessions.